We are very excited because an amazing cookbook, which we have been talking about for months, is finally landed. It's out, it's real, it's live, it's happening right now. Signs and Seasons. Feed your sign the food it craves. We are here with Amy Zerner and Monte Farber. They are the authors of many, many books, but none is as spectacularly sumptuous as this. Their cookbook has come out just yesterday, and that is interesting because Mercury was in retrograde and Mercury's just gone direct. And I would like to hear a little bit about the book, why you guys are excited about talking about it, and also I guess we're going to answer people's questions.
Sure.
Sure.
And we're going to show them some of the beautiful color photography that Monte himself has done, and the beautiful illustrations from Amy. So first and foremost, let's hear about your reaction to seeing the book for the very first time.
Well,
Our baby.
yeah, you can rock it.
We're so happy with it and loved working with the team at Harper Elixir, and so much thanks to you, Lisa, for helping this be born. It's a nice size, it's a nice weight, the paper is fantastic.
It even tastes good.
All my illustrations, all the color is fantastic, and Monte's photographs. It's a true labor of love, and I think some of our Facebook friends know we've been banging on about it for a year and a half as we worked on it and shared the process a little bit with them. Monte would sometimes be up on a ladder, you know, I'd be styling the food, and our kitchen was like a total chaos of all kinds of spices and herbs and experiments, and we tested every single recipe of the 96 recipes. And our friend John Okus, who's a chef, was so much fun to work with, and I gotta say it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah, and we're on diets now because of it. It's just delicious food. That's the main thing about it, is it's a great cookbook that's going to be one of your favorite go-to cookbooks forever.
And it includes our favorite subject, which is astrology, our language of love.
Exactly.
So talk about how astrology works in a cookbook. I don't think there's ever been anything like it before.
It's the first one. It's the first real cookbook.
Well, we've always, we've been together 43 years, and we work at home, and we cook at home, and we've always been into healthy eating. And when in the early 70s, when we were trying to find health food stores, we would be amazed to dream now every grocery store has an organic section, and it's so easy to find all these ingredients now.
And I would always ask people about their food predilections, and
When we would have dinner parties.
exactly, and I would see that Amy had certain ways of eating. Like if you have an Aries friend and they're hungry, get out of their way, because Aries do not like to be afraid, and when they're hungry, they feel like they're a little
That
afraid. they're a little
panicky
weak.
feeling. We always have to have our little things to eat to give us a boost of energy. And Monte's an Aquarius, so I know what he likes, which is everything.
Everything.
If you ask him what his favorite recipe is, he can't tell
No.
you because
And there's 96 of them in here, and they're all my favorite.
I brought a couple of desserts today. This is the tahini lemon bars, which we say is for Gemini, because Geminis like variety. They like variations in texture, and these bars they're layered. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I made them. It's almond flour, which is like ground up almonds, very fine. And you make the crust as a no-bake dessert, because during the time of Gemini, it gets a little warmer out, and we're all busy. So these are really easy to make. You kind of press the almond flour with rice malt syrup, which is a very butterscotchy kind of taste, and coconut oil, which I like to use. And you press it into the pan. And then this is a picture in the book. And this is the real thing.
Well, actually, the real thing looks so sumptuous. I will be running to the table afterwards. Guys, you can ask Monte and Amy anything about astrology, tarot,
Your sign.
Mercury, your sign, what food is right for your sign, any food issues that you might have. They might be able to give you suggestions. For
Yes.
example, you might be a Gemini eating like a Taurus, and that could be a problem for you.
That's right, because it's all about harmony and balance. And when we know ourselves better and are in harmony with that, fine cooking is all about harmony and balance, and that's what we try to bring out in the book and in the recipes.
So
And
we
we
have
talk-
dozens of people watching now, and we are here at HarperCollins. We are with Amy Zerner and Monte Farber, and they are the authors, the co-authors of Signs and Seasons. But you guys have written dozens of books.
Yes, we
just
have.
tell us about the history of your book writing
Our
career.
oeuvre.
Well,
It's amazing.
I've said it before, but when I first met Amy, she was studying astrology and I was studying Amy, so I learned astrology. And I used to think that there was nothing to it. I thought it was what you see in the newspapers or now online, just the daily stuff. But there's so much more to it. And when you start to get into the real astrology, John, the chef who we work with, John Okus, is also an astrologer. When you start to get into the real astrology, you start to realize there's so much to it. Your astrology chart is like looking at your DNA. A chart won't repeat except maybe every 28,000 years. So it's a very unique picture of where the planets lined up. And then we started applying it. We always wanted to have an astrology cookbook.
But Karma Cards was Monte's first astrology oracle that came out. It's going to be the 30th anniversary edition in the fall.
Yeah, we make evergreen titles, and we're hopeful this is going to be an evergreen title as well.
We kind of specialize in making ancient wisdom very accessible and easy to understand and beautiful too. So it's usually a combination of my artwork and Monte's words.
Yeah, and astrology arose around the Mediterranean, and there is a focus in this book on Mediterranean cooking. Though you'll find some ingredients that might be from South America or...
Well, this has the maca powder, which is a root from Peru and the Andes that they say is an aphrodisiac.
Yes.
Also,
Our friend is there now. Hi, Joelle, if you're watching.
Well, Loretta is on. She said, so excited, received my beautiful book yesterday. We'll be cooking this weekend.
Oh,
good.
great.
And Joyce says, love your clothing. She's saying hi.
oh, Joyce knows. She collects my clothing, and it's very
Joyce
familiar.
says, I'm an Aries. What kind of food should I eat?
Well, Aries like a little spice and a little kick to their food. So last time we brought the salmon sriracha
Yeah.
cakes and deviled eggs because Aries are a little devilish too.
This is the
But
Aries
this is the
art.
artwork I made. I like black olives, and we did research with all of our Aries friends. So we have, it's the color red. So a lot of cherries and pomegranates and any red food for Aries. But
And hot, of course.
Aries is the time of Easter time and the symbol of the egg. So eggs get you through the day, right?
And a funny coincidence, John and Amy are both Aries, and when they both showed up to cook for one day for the first time, they both had the same kind of dull serrated knives. And
It's
usually
a
you
weird
think
story, but he's a chef and he uses the same knife I do.
and everybody makes fun of them because Aries can cut themselves.
It was great working with another Aries because we really understood each other. It was like, let's get it done.
Yeah, for a year and a half.
So how would you describe the connection between nourishment and psychic satisfaction?
Oh my God, it's food is the true alchemy. It's the first alchemy. We take food and we translate it and transmute it into us.
Well, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That's
Right, the Hippocratic oath that every doctor takes. Hippocrates said, thy food shall be thy remedy.
And if you're eating properly for yourself, I'm not talking about diets or,
Right. We're not talking about diets.
but we're talking about if we're feeling happy. I mean, that's what it's all about. So you have to eat what's right for you, and then you'll be happy, and then that joy spreads.
Yeah, this book is not a blueprint, eat this way and you'll be a certain way. What it is a great
Food for
cookbook.
thought.
It's food for thought, yes. And plus, when you're cooking from this book, you have a really great conversation starter.
So
Yeah.
you're going to get beautiful pictures. You're going to get beautiful recipes.
yeah.
You're going to learn about the seasons. But what else
So-
is in this book?
So we talk about how each sign specifically eats, cooks, and entertains. So if, say you're having a dinner party and you have mixed signs, you can look up what a Gemini likes and what a Leo likes and kind of put that all together and pick one recipe for each sign and design a beautiful menu that way.
Or one of the things we try and explain in this is that astrology works because it occurred at the same moment as the seasons. When you think about Aries, Aries is spring, so Aries rules the head because the plants push their heads through the snow and through the ground. And then Taurus is when they hooked up the oxen to plow the fields. So eating seasonally, if you go to any great chef, they're going to tell you to eat seasonally, what's in season. You'll never find them cooking out of a can.
And also the vibe of the season. So during the time of Gemini, we're all feeling like running around and getting busy. And
Right, and there's two ways to do it. So you can either have look at what's going on in winter, let's say, if it's winter time, and make something that's all from the winter recipes.
That's right. And we have feasts also for special holidays, and
Yeah, we have a whole section on feasts. Or if you know the people's signs that are coming over, some people are not going to want to ask, and some people are not going to want to tell. But if you have people that are comfortable telling you, you can make things that are listed under their sign. And I'm not guaranteeing they're going to like it, but the odds are that they probably will. And everybody likes chocolate chip
and we
cookies.
have lots of vegetarian because people are always asking us that.
Yeah, and we have
Such a-
gluten-free. I'm a OG
Such a
gluten-free.
great idea. I mean, Kat is saying that her 2 adult Virgo kids have always been super finicky. This
Oh
is
my God.
probably the recipe book they need. Is pickiness a common theme with Virgo?
Without
Totally.
question, yes. That defines Virgo as
We had
picky.
a Virgo nephew. Nothing when he was little, nothing could touch. Each
Yeah.
food had to be separate on the plate.
You know, he liked one of those plates with the sections.
I had those for my Sagittarius son. He couldn't let the food touch, and he wouldn't let anybody else touch his food.
Well, that's where we talk about the rising sign. You know, the rising sign is the sign that's on the horizon at the moment you're born. That's your secret sign. We're working on it. We have a proposal for that one. by the way.
So let's look at some of the Virgo foods in here.
Yes, I was just going to find the.
Yeah, here we go.
So this is my Virgo artwork, which has the wheat, and we we made a mandala of food for each sign that has all their favorite foods.
And Amy had her friend who's a Virgo help her with the technical aspects.
This should carry well because
That's one of my favorite pictures in the book. When you get
Thank
this
you.
book, guys, you will just see the richness and the saturation of the colors in this photography.
it was so much fun to really get the feel, and I would play with the table settings because I'm a fabric artist and all the colors. But Virgo berries are perfect Virgo food because they're little and they're tidy. And so I made this arrangement because Virgo likes everything in its right place.
And Amy is a exclusive fashion designer of couture fashion for Bergdorf Goodman. And I've been photographing her work on models for, well, you've been there, what, 17 years now. And so I was so happy to get a chance to photograph food. Not that I mind working with the beautiful models and the clothing, but it's so much fun to photograph food because there's a right way and a wrong way. And thank goodness I know the right way. And I've had a lot of people say that the food looks so good in the photographs
Well,
that they want to eat
that's
it.
why you buy a cookbook, right? Because you can really see what you're going to be making and how it should look. And
We
Wait,
tried
can
to
you
pay a lot
Go
of
back
it.
to the berry one for a second, just because it's really beautiful. But tell us about that recipe because it's gorgeous and
it's
I
a
just
mascarpone tart. So you make this.
That was Gemini, so it's spring.
It's Virgo.
Oh, so it's fall.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting that Virgos like tidy, neat little things. Like I guess they would like a mozzarella ball,
Yes.
as opposed to a gooey cheese.
It's a mascarpone tart, and it has like a jelly syrup sauce that becomes congealed to hold all the berries on top of the creamy. This is not one of the healthiest ones because
Yes,
some
it is.
people like sweet, and it has a wonderful crust with it. And I brought chocolate chip cookies or one of the healthier desserts for Scorpio, Lisa. You know, everyone's so weirded out by all this retrograde energy. It's not just Mercury that's
Yeah.
been retrograde, but Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know it's been intense, and I'm sure people are eating emotionally. But when you eat emotionally, it's good to eat something a little healthy emotionally. So my chocolate chip cookies have oat flour and almond flour, and they're sweetened with coconut sugar, which I think is healthier than regular sugar.
Yes, it is.
We have a number of people weighing in. Marty Johnson says she just got in from mowing, and I love the book. She loves the book.
Aw.
I
And,
can't wait till
Katie-
people I hope people send us pictures of what they cook up from the book, and also we love reviews.
And
Yeah.
please ask us questions because you can
Yeah.
ask astrological questions
Sure.
right now. You can ask questions about Mercury. You can ask generalized questions. You can tell us when you're born, if you have a dilemma in your life, or if you have a food dilemma, it really might relate to your astrological sign.
It could.
Katie Cass says you are both amazing individuals. Keep up the amazing energy you spread with your wisdom, creativity, and kindness.
Aw, thank you, Katie.
So talk about what it means to have different planets, because most people are generally worried about Mercury in retrograde because it screws up travel plans and things. But what happens first with Mercury and then with the other planets that are in retrograde or have been?
Retrograde basically means be aware or beware, especially the Mercury retrograde. Everyone's afraid of the Mercury retrograde, but it happens 3 times a year for about 3 weeks at a time. Then there's what's called the shadow period, when it goes back to where it was when it went backwards. But basically it means just be aware. I never worked on a movie that wasn't done during a Mercury retrograde.
Well, it makes us be a little more going with the flow, because when we expect it to happen a certain way during retrogrades, it never does. So we all have to be a little more flexible. Anyhow, I know my neck hurts from these retrogrades, right?
No, this was one of the worst ones ever, but when it went stationary direct is the day our book and our other book, Instant Tarot, were both published. We never had 2 books published on the same day.
Well, like Monte was born during 6 retrogrades.
Yes,
so
I was.
It's common to have a lot of retrogrades. I was born with 4 retrogrades. It makes you redo things, look over things. It's good for writers because we're always editing and
Yeah,
reviewing.
artists and perfectionists.
Yes.
Very good. Nancy Smith is asking, do you have holiday recommendations for each sign as well as just general recipes?
Yes,
We have the holiday recommendations for the holidays,
yes.
so
For
it's for everyone.
example?
Like we have a great duck recipe that's great for Thanksgiving, and we have some fancy food, and we talk about the spring celebration or the summer fire celebration. It doesn't have to be Easter time. It can be springtime, because all the different cultures celebrate in a different way. But
Yeah, here's the spring and the solstice renewals. We have all kinds of ceremonies, but
yeah, and it gives you a menu and an idea and the meaning of the holiday. But I know like Cinco de Mayo is coming up, which
right.
is,
Oh, right. You have a great recipe
We
in the
do.
book.
we
It's
have
It's actually my
halibut.
dog's 10th birthday on Cinco de Mayo, Carter. I'm very excited for him. I'm going to give him an extra biscuit, but I would love to see that Cinco de Mayo recipe in your book if you could hold up that page.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have halibut fish tacos, which are a perfect dish, and we have stuffed red peppers.
I keep getting distracted because it makes me. I haven't eaten yet today.
It should be
Well, if
right.
you haven't, just grab one of those cookies in
We
front
will.
of you.
Believe me, I'm going to grab all of them.
I'll look where you talk. But anyhow, we were saying the book can be used that way when you have a special event coming up. There's always an appropriate out of 96 recipes.
We have the fiddlehead ferns, which is another favorite of people.
You
Oh, right,
guys,
right.
You live in the Hamptons,
Yes, we do.
on eastern Long Island. It's in a very exclusive community, but it's also a very spiritual community.
It is, and it's also a farming community, really. There's some amazing farm stands. Round Swamp Farm is one of the most amazing ones. There's and I was privileged to do sound for Larry Rivers, the artist out there, because that's the kind, like you said, it's the place where there's all these amazing artists. And one of the best gigs we ever did was Craig Claiborne's birthday party.
50th birthday party.
His 50th birthday, where all these chefs showed up from around the world. Paul Prudhomme was there before he was known.
Wow, Cape
It-
Falls, Louisiana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all these chefs from all the way around the world were there showing their wares. And every one of them, you could have asked them, they all would tell you the seasons are where food is at.
Wow, that's wonderful. Just hold on to that book right there. So we're looking at the fish tacos. This is for Cinco de Mayo. And talk
And
to us
stuffed
about-
red peppers opposite it
oh,
with
God,
with
beautiful.
rice, brown rice and beans and a hot pepper sauce over it. Those would be perfect dishes.
And there's a lot of tidbits in there that John shares about how to make pasta the correct way.
And some are tomato sauce that you can whip up a whole big batch, and we use it in different recipes, and a lemon oil dressing that we use in a variety of ways. So there's lots of great cooking tips.
Yes, and he's a consulting chef to a number of restaurants, a highway restaurant out in East Hampton and a few others.
And did we say it's a good Mother's Day present?
Yes, it
There's
is.
still time to
Absolutely.
get it.
Yeah, and we're really glad we did a lot of work. Thanks to everybody at Harper One. They put us through our paces with the doing the pre-orders, and thank you to everybody who pre-ordered. We had a contest going actually,
Ah,
and
I'm
it's
going to announce the
time to
winners.
announce the winners.
Oh, tell us what the winners are going to win.
They win me
So first they win Monte, a 90-minute astrological reading with Monte.
a $500 value.
And
That
the
is
winner of
amazing.
that is Susan Sharon. Susan, are you watching?
All right,
Susan, you
Sharon,
won.
if you are watching,
You get a free 1.5 hour
Well,
reading with me.
and
We're
we'll
gonna email.
direct message you, and you'll get
Oh, for sure.
you'll get a message from us. But if you're on right now, you are the luckiest person at the moment in the world
Oh,
because you get to have Monte.
Sweet.
Now, the
away from
second
Amy.
prize is a zodiac necklace designed by me,
Whoa.
whatever your sign is, and the winner of that is Lynn Falkowski.
Wow,
Lynn, are you watching?
Lynn.
Hope you are.
Well, and where are these necklaces typically sold? Are they at Bergdorf?
They
Yeah.
were my biggest bestseller at Bergdorf Goodman, and they're online on my amyzerner.com website. And I have a power word, so it has the image of the sign on one side and then a power word on the other side.
What's the power word for Scorpio?
Passion.
Passion. Whoa, that's amazing.
Well, you know it's true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, Adrian wants to know, did you celebrate Beltane?
Yes.
Oh my
What
God.
is
yes.
I
I'm
cooked
sorry,
a-
I don't even know what that is.
So that's
That's-
May Day.
That's the one when people jump over the fire.
They jump over the fire, they make maypoles, they really celebrate. It's a time of fertility, get rid of winter, celebrate all the new growth and what's going on. And I made a fig dish because fresh figs are in now. And we have a recipe in the book also with you open it up a little bit and put feta cheese and pistachios, and you can use chorizo sausage if you want, and then broil it, and it's like,
To die
Yum.
for. And
I got a couple
Delish.
more prizes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, on to the next prize.
we had a third and a fourth winner.
So we have a natal and transit report that we can email to Sherry Lynn Zankin. Sherry Lynn.
All right, Sherry Lynn, you're going to get an amazing report on your
whole birth
astrological
chart and
your
what's
birth
going
chart.
on.
That's great.
And all these people pre-ordered, so.
That's right.
So thank you for the pre-orders. And now the final fourth prize.
Is a signed book. I know they bought a book to get entered, but it's a signed book that they can give as a present or keep. Warren Wyndham.
Wow, so
Nice.
Warren Wyndham, you're going to get that. This is so great. You guys are so generous with spirit. You're so kind. And this
Well,
book is filled with kindness and filled with love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's the perfect Mother's Day gift.
It
It really
really
is.
Because, even if you have a general interest in astrology or you want to go deeper, the book works on all those levels, and it's a great cookbook.
And it is dedicated to our mothers, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you want to dedicate it to your mother, or if you want to buy it from our website, we'll sign it to your mother.
Well, Kat is saying she's a Sagittarius born December 20th, and cooking is her absolute favorite thing to do, and she's going to be ordering this book ASAP.
Oh,
Yay.
good.
Well, it's so nurturing. I think everyone's kind of stressed, and to me, I can work all day, and then when I go in the kitchen, it's like a meditation, and I know I'm making something with love for Monte to eat and nurturing ourselves, and it's so important now. We were talking on the ride in about people burrowing in and not going out as much, and I think, cooking at home is a big part of that.
Yes. And who was that, Faith Popcorn, who said
Yeah.
that? First it was cocooning, and then now it's burrowing. Getting even more into making your house the place you want a staycation.
Yeah, and also if you're going to go off the grid, right, you need to have your supplies. And,
Definitely.
That's
you know,
right.
You stay there for. So, can we just talk about the worldview of astrology and the planets
for
right
sure.
now? Because, I think it would not be a stretch to say that we're going through a time that people feel unsettled, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, whether you support the leaders of the world or whether you don't feel they're the right people to be leading. You're still getting it from both
Yeah.
sides. What's happening in the universe, Monte? Amy, help us through
Well,
this.
and keep in mind that the people who we're talking about are getting it also. They have that same unsettled feeling. So but they're in a position where their decisions make things happen or
This
not
is the
happen.
age of Aquarius, and I don't know
Yeah.
why we thought it would be any
Blame
different.
it on the poor Aquarians.
Aquarius is a time of extremism and polarity and, people butting heads and revolution. I mean, look at the resistance of revolution, and people in their own lives are breaking up and breaking out. And, this is kind of the energy. That's why we really have to, have times of solitude and spiritual peace, and however you get that with sharing a meal with people you love and like-minded people. It's so important. But astrologically, it's an intense time.
When you have the 3 retrogrades that we have now, especially Pluto, which just went retrograde, and it'll be retrograde until August, just think about it. Retrogrades mean that as you look from Earth, it looks like the planet's moving backwards. They're not really moving backwards, but when you plot them against the zodiac, it looks like they are. They've been there before. So we all have this feeling of, oh my God, we've been here before.
Or you can't move forward, or you have to go 2 steps back.
Or how long can this, go on? And that's the feeling everyone's having, including people with the power to do something about it. So I do think, maybe I'm just an optimist, but I think things are going to get better.
Which everything always has to get shaken up to get better. Unfortunately, as humans, right? We have to get sick before we find a way to heal ourselves, or things have to reach a crisis before we know which direction to go.
And now that Mercury is direct, it's actually today. Here's a classic example of Mercury retrograde. The book was originally supposed to be published on the 1st, but then it got changed to the 2nd, and I thought someone's an astrologer, because on the 2nd is actually a much better day to get published, because that's the day Mercury is direct, stationary. It's the best day to do something like that, and the 1st wouldn't have been. And now Mercury is conjuncting, is on the same degree as the planet Uranus. Mercury conjunct Uranus, everybody wants something new. Well, there's the book, of course, but everybody all over the world. See, that's why Signs and Seasons is about the seasons, the general astro weather that's going on, that's affecting everybody.
Well, to be attuned. I mean, all of our work is about your intuition about people, who to work with, where they're coming from, what's news, what's fake news. I mean, nobody's going to do it for you. We have to turn within and know what's true and what's important.
And with Jupiter retrograde, it's actually not a bad thing. Jupiter is always the good luck one. And the aspects inclined that if you're very careful and if you do the hard work and don't expect, like you said, don't expect people to do stuff for you, you can get a lot done during a retrograde. But it's the kind, think of the monks walking, looking on the ground so that they don't step on an ant. That's, the real monks do that. That's the kind of mindfulness that is required during a period of astrology like we have right now.
By the way, there's a shadow period with Mercury retrograde, so even though it went direct today, it's not till May 20th that we're kind of out of the shadow, so there's still repercussions.
Yeah.
I was just in the ladies' room, and there were people talking about the retrograde. I overheard. I said, oh, it's so fun now. Everyone knows when Mercury is retrograde.
But also, great, amazing coincidences happen during these kind of retrogrades. And I'm sure, yes, of course, when they returned my car, when my nephew returned the car, it died in the driveway like the elephant's burial ground. And you have things like that, and the computers are going completely nuts. But then there was all these amazing coincidences, running into people, thinking about things. It's a good and a bad.
I posted about the Mercury retrograde. I couldn't believe there were like 100 stories of things that went wrong. I think it's important to share. Then you know it's not just you.
And the last time you guys were here was, I believe, during the Mercury retrograde, and the whole life thing went down.
That's right.
And also, we have a couple of questions. So I just want to get to somebody wants to know, what's the right sign for a Gemini to be with?
It doesn't work that way. You got to look at the whole chart. I mean, a Gemini is a person who doesn't want to be bored. So forget about the sign. You don't want to be someone with someone who bores you. That's the absolute worst thing.
And it rules communication, so you have to be able to talk and communicate.
So a good communicator who doesn't mind an exciting life and could be a little bit on the edge.
And that likes that you could be one way 1 minute and a different way in the next minute.
Right.
They gotta like that.
All right. When Ron Herrera is asking, what should Libras with Virgo rising eat for good health?
Oh, nice. So Libra, I was just talking to a Libra. They like everything beautiful. So the table setting has to be pretty, and the tablecloth, and the arrangement of the food, and nice flowers. And Virgo is so discerning and picky. So
he's a Virgo rising. So that would put your son probably either in the first house, which would mean concentrate on what you want for dinner. Yeah. Forget about everybody else.
Well, balance is always the word for.
Or your son's in the second house, which means spend the money and get the most expensive kind of stuff to eat. Your value system is very important.
So talk to us about when people are trying to choose healthy foods for themselves based on their signs. Let's just go a little bit through what you're going to find in the book. For example, let's talk a little more about Sagittarius. What is it that, if you are a parent and you're trying to feed a child that has these certain signs that they're born with, what you should be doing to help them eat the most healthy and delicious meals?
Well, you would want to explain the philosophy of food. Actually, there's a whole movement called the philosophy of food movement. But you'd want to get, Sagittarians are very honest, so they're going to tell you how they feel.
And it's during the harvest time, the fall time, so we like the fall foods and the squashes. And
Sag is all about taking the best the world has and either bringing it to yourself through reading about it or traveling to it.
Yeah, because Sagittarians rule foreign things and international things. So
So
I would take them.
exotic.
I would try taking them to different restaurants of different cuisines
Yeah.
because that's Sagittarius all their life are gonna love to travel the world, whether it's literally traveling or through books and learning all about other cultures.
As long as they feel free, they'll be fine.
Do you feel that different signs, because they're all divided up into the seasons, just like the book is, and into the different times of year, are plants and foods that are ripe during those
Yes.
times of year
Yes.
the ones that are being put in? So why don't you
Yes.
just take us through the book? I know you have the book in front of you. I'd love to be able to see some more of the pictures. But let's just go through and read to us from the table of contents, Monte, and
Okay.
just tell us what we can expect, because this is really the perfect gift. I was just thinking to myself, if I had a Mother's Day gift to get for my mother, who unfortunately is passed, but I would get her this book. I would get her one of Amy's necklaces with the astrological sign on it, and then as a bonus, I would get her a 90-minute reading with Monte that I would buy.
Excellent.
Because that's the ultimate gift pack, isn't it?
So we have a fun fiddlehead fern because during the time of Gemini, I'm just thinking Gemini because we're kind of going into the summer. So fiddleheads are the tops of the ferns that curl around. So our editor, Libby, was so fun to work with because she wanted us to have some more unusual ingredients that grow and that were kind of wild harvest ingredients. And I made it on a farro salad. So we used different grains and so here's my Gemini. Has a little citrus because Gemini likes a little tang, a little citrusy in these tahini lemon squares too, and the mint. There's different herbs that go with each sign. So another, asparagus is ripe during the time of Aries, and all the spring vegetables are easy and recognizable that everyone knows about because it's happening now. Then you go into summer, the cucumbers. We have a cucumber pistachio soup and a watermelon gazpacho, which is a combination of watermelons and tomatoes.
That sounds amazing, watermelon
Yes,
gazpacho.
it's
I mean, that's delicious.
you love the seasonal. Each season has its own charm and magic. And peaches in the summer, we have a peach salad with raspberries. It's so delicious, and baby spinach salad.
And I know we talked about this before, but if you are wooing a member of the opposite sex or the same sex or any sex that you want to get with someone, a way to a person's heart is really through their stomach. So a great way to lure someone
Yes.
into the aura
You're
of
such
your
a Scorpio.
being.
Yes, it's
Oh,
so true.
I'm sorry, but I can't help it. But I was just
Seducing.
thinking, I'm married, but if I weren't and I was dating and I wanted to impress someone with my cooking skills, I would look at this book, I would figure out their birthday, and I
Absolutely.
would make them an entire meal based on the chapter about their sign. Isn't that the way to do it?
That's
Absolutely.
the sneaky way.
Oh, and also, of course, to have a dinner party where each guest has to make a dish and bring it based on the birthday of another guest.
Wow.
Love that.
Love
so
that.
maybe this summer in the Hamptons we can do something like that.
Wow.
Are you going to be there?
I'm trying. Okay,
Okay,
we
good.
have a question here from Daitha Francisca. She says, does the ascendant and planets have effect on metabolism? For example, she has Sun in Capricorn, Aquarius ascendant, and she has Earth signs on several of her planets. What do you think she should eat for her body and health?
You'd have to look at the real chart. There is something called medical astrology, but I'm not an expert on it.
She said she's a Cancer. With
She has a
Aquarius.
Sun in Capricorn, an Aquarius ascendant, and Earth signs and several planets.
Well, you'd have
So-
to know where the moon was. That's really important.
Well, so, the Capricorn's wintertime and so is Aquarius, so I would combine those two signs. And so during time of Capricorn, there's all these holidays, and sometimes we kind of overeat. That's called the Saturnalia, besides Christmas and Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Traditionally, in the olden days, they had Saturnalia, where they would overdo everything, sex, food, drinking.
Yep.
And then you come into Aquarius, which you start to restrict yourself and get healthy again. So I would, if she's looking at her cookbook, there's recipes from both those signs that would be good for her.
Right. If you have a lot of earth, that would, like our friend who's a Virgo has the fastest metabolism I've ever seen. But you have to really look at the whole chart.
I mean, Capricorns tend to be kind of meat and potatoes and
Yes, very
hearty
much.
traditional meals.
Yes, and Aquarians like to eat lozenges.
Is that true?
Anything weird.
So
makes
Aquarians
them-
like to eat things that are weird?
Well, they
Yes.
won't follow recipes. They'll always change it up and make it different because they're rebels and they're inventors. So they
And-
have to make it their
But we're
way.
in the age of Aquarius. How
Yes.
does that affect Aquarians?
New inventions.
And no rules.
Yeah, the rules are changed, as we can see.
That's the new rule is no rules. And with Aquarians for eating, if they eat by themselves, they sometimes don't use utensils or plates.
They like to be free.
Yeah, free like the birds in the sea. From
Like this
bananas.
woman that just said she's Aquarius rising. Lots of times they like the window open. They don't like to feel trapped. They want to make sure they can
It
escape.
keeps coming back to this. I wonder why.
Well, I think it's so interesting. You know, I was thinking about the lyrics from the musical Hair, which is, you know, the main song is
Yeah,
this
Age
is the
of
dawning of the
Aquarius.
age of Aquarius. And the way you describe the age of Aquarius is not the same way.
Well, we were lulled into that thinking it was all going to be peace
Oh.
and love.
Yeah,
Well, maybe it will be eventually because an age lasts 2,000 years.
yeah.
So this is just the rocky beginnings of it.
So when did the age of Aquarius officially begin, and when will it officially end? I know we won't be here for that, at least not
No.
in this lifetime.
And age is like 2,178 years.
So when do you think it really started?
I think unfortunately, I think it started on 9/11 in 2001, which is the Tower card in the tarot.
Shake up, wake up.
And everything changed since
And every
then.
day is like that now. It was
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah, but
can't
I
believe-
remember that day, of course.
We're a block away.
Yeah, and we are a block away here, and this building was seriously affected by that. But I worked at ABC News at the time, and I remember, you know, on my way in to cover this, I just, you know, I was sobbing, running
Yes.
down the street and saying, the world will never be the same.
And it
That's
never was.
and that's true. Oh, by the way, Dietha Francisca, who is the Earth Tones person that we were talking, not Earth Tones, the Earth signs.
Uh-huh.
She says that her moon is in Virgo. OMG. Thanks, Amy and Monte. I've been following you guys for years.
Oh,
Aw,
nice.
Thank you.
So with her moon in Virgo, I mean,
Well, that's why he kept going back to that Virgo tart, right?
Yeah.
so she's one
I
of those.
beg your pardon.
So, yeah. So what recipe are we looking at now?
I just love this picture.
It's beautiful.
So this is acorn squash. I mean, isn't this beautiful on the star plate?
Gorgeous.
It's like two crescent moons because it's an astrology cookbook. And we sauteed mushrooms and hazelnuts, and it's so good. And sometimes we fried up sage and drizzled it around.
And Amy styled every one of these photographs, so you know we had plenty of tablecloths at our house because she's a fabric artist.
This is a roasted cauliflower pasta. The pastas are all really easy to whip up and just perfect tasting. Falafel for a vegetarian meal with tahini sesame sauce.
That's amazing. Oh, I see my friend Robin is on there. Hi, Robin. Ask a question, Robin, and we'll get an answer for you.
Yes, we will.
Robin's in New Jersey, and she's an amazing person. I am just wondering if there's any way that you guys could let us know how people could meet you over the next few days in person, get a signed copy of the book. I know that there are some
Funny you
incredible
should-
events coming up.
What a
Yes.
coincidence.
So I show at Bergdorf Goodman, which is on 58th and 5th in New York City. So
The
if you're
finest specialty store in the world. It's not a department store.
If you're
It's a
in New York
specialty store.
City, so I make one-of-a-kind garments. I'm wearing one, and some very fancy caftans and jackets and all kinds of very interesting clothing. I'm always posting them on Facebook. But we're going to have a stack of our cookbooks there because
They're
I'm so
carrying the
excited
book.
that Bergdorf Goodman that only has the finest books and the
Yes.
finest everything.
And
is
we didn't
carrying
even
our
have to
book.
force them.
So what floor is your department on, and where will the signing be?
So we're on the 4th floor from 1 to 5 in the evening department. And ask anybody on the 4th floor where Amy Zerner is and Monte Farber. That Monte's very famous there because,
Yes.
you know,
I read for
they
everybody.
get to ask him questions all the
All
time.
right, he's been hanging around
Yes.
reading their charts for
The
17
husband.
years.
It's like, hi, Amy, where's your husband?
And will we be in the cocktail room, which is on the 4th floor, right on where the up escalators
It's called the
come out?
cocktail room because of cocktail dresses.
Cocktail dresses. It's not like we're going to be laid out on the table.
Here's another Sagittarius meal. It's the plum upside down cake.
That's my favorite thing
Yeah,
in the book
yeah.
is the plum upside down cake. I maybe as a Scorpio, I like things to be upside down, but
That sounds Aquarian.
In a passionate kind of way.
yeah, I just upside down just seems so exotic and different, and
It's
just
true.
taking a stab at doing things differently.
And that was one of your mother's recipes, right?
Yeah, and this is saltimbocca with made with turkey. So this is good if you want a little change up for Thanksgiving or turkey time.
Yeah, and plus we have things like arugula pesto, which is amazing and so much lighter than basil pesto, and he doesn't use as much oil, right?
Yeah, with Parmesan and scallions and pistachios.
Instead of pine nuts.
It's so special, but you can just whip it up really easily.
So let's go through. So okay, Bergdorf Goodman is going to be tomorrow.
Yes.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah,
And Friday.
Yeah, you
and
really get
Saturday.
to
so
spend
it's a
time with us.
trifecta.
Yeah.
So it's a long weekend basically at Bergdorf's
Yeah.
for Monte and Amy in this book
And my beautiful
and
clothes.
her gorgeous, gorgeous clothing and the jewelry.
No
And-
jewelry.
Oh, there's no jewelry,
No.
but the jewelry you'll wear a piece. So if
Definitely.
people
Oh,
need
for
you,
sure.
they can see it,
Yes.
and then they can go to your website and they can
Yes.
order the jewelry based on their
She's
sign.
festooned as we speak.
And we're going to do some special events in East Hampton.
Oh yes, when is that?
So the Guildhall Museum is a wonderful local museum in East Hampton. May 20th at 11 a.m. We're going to be lecturing and doing a book signing.
Yes, and
And then at Bookhampton, which is our local independent bookstore,
Such
support
a
your
famous
independent
store.
bookstores.
Sunday, May 28th, which
That's
is Memorial Day
weekend.
at 5 p.m.
And we're also doing Authors Night, but that's not till August, right?
Yeah.
Authors Night is a pretty amazing thing that we've been doing since it started back in the Elaine Benson days. And it's where all the, as you said before, the Hamptons have a tremendous amount of authors and creative people, and that's where we all do benefit for the library and sign books.
Well, we really appreciate you guys coming in today. This has just been so incredibly
Thank you for
eye-opening,
having us.
and we just love you guys. We love this book.
Oh, thank you.
We urge everyone to go out and get it. It's not only the most unusual, but it's interesting. You're going to learn about foods and learn about signs and learn about seasons, and then it's a great conversation piece. What a
Yes.
perfect gift also to bring to a dinner
I'm
party.
Yeah.
bringing this for a housewarming gift next week.
For the biggest foodie we know.
Yes.
So if we're brave enough to bring it for the biggest foodie we know, we're really, really proud of this book. We could not be more proud, and thank you so much, Lisa.
And please share, and please visit Monte and Amy Bergdorf Goodman's tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, 1 o'clock till
5.
5 p.m.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Thank you.
Lisa.